Hello, lovely creature. You are joined today by your three favorite BAMs, and we will be discussing The Martian by Andy Weir. Also, The Martian, directed by Ridley Scott, starring Matt Damon. So the first thing we did was we didn't watch the movie first, that's a lie. The first thing we did was read the book. And then a little bit later we watched the movie together, and we all had thoughts and feelings. But the first question I want to ask you guys is, which one did you prefer?
I can start. I preferred the book because, number one, that's not surprising. I think that's how things typically go. I think with the book, Andy Weir's ideas were better able to be, expressed and detailed. But in the movie, I feel like things were kind of skipped over, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of montages.
Oh, yeah.
What did you think, Ariane?
It was, of course I liked the book better, but I thought the movie was a pretty good adaptation for, making it more exciting for the screen, the theater. I thought it was pretty good.
I of course, also loved the book more. And this is my second time reading it through, and I've read it, older. The first time I read it, I was, 16, 15, and now that I'm, getting my engineering degree, and he's talking about all the cubic feet of water. Well, he wouldn't say cubic feet, it would be cubic meters because SI units, of course. And he was I could visualize this stuff because I've been taught to visualize this stuff, and I kind of missed all the numbers talk. I mean, we did it in the movie, but of course movies are usually supposed to be digestible, and it's not supposed to be what did they just say? But I think the movie was also a really good adaptation. You didn't walk out and you weren't what was that?
Right.
But the movie, there were several things that were different that bothered me. What bothered me personally was the whole thing about the color green. And I remember I talked about this when we were watching. So in the book, there's this whole part about, oh my god, the radioactive core thing was buried 6 meters deep, 4 meters deep, whatever. And there's a green flag on top of it because green would stand out against the red of Mars. Mm-hmm. So the first thing that bugged me was the flag was not green. And also their suits were reddish, orangey, white, aesthetic. What if your crewmate was out far away? How could you see them against the Martian terrain? You wouldn't be able to. I think their suits should have been green. But I guess that doesn't fit the whole Mars aesthetic.
Oh, okay, first of all, you said a whole thing, like he made a big deal out of his green colored flag. When he did it. It was one line, probably. It was 2 lines.
It really stuck out to me because I was wow, that's so clever.
I mean, the flag was yellow in the movie?
It was yellow and it had a weird symbol on it.
Yeah, I feel at that point they made
on it.
It did have green on it.
I feel it had a green detail.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
green.
Yeah. I feel at that point they should have just made it green.
Right.
Yeah, that's a weird choice.
I don't know why they didn't, but I don't know. It isn't.
It's not the biggest thing.
Right. Another thing that bothered me kind of at the start was, I mean, yes, him being left on Mars was very dramatic, and yes, it's obviously the biggest plot point, or one of the biggest, but when he was kind of, getting his bearings, mm-hmm. I feel we skipped a lot in terms of how the heck did he, begin communicating back with Earth, because it kind of just appeared, I feel in the movie, where there was a lot more trial and error in the book.
Mm-hmm. And I remember you said that the coding part of getting Pathfinder to
work,
yeah,
that was
or the
later
rover
though.
To work.
But I feel they almost skipped that completely in the movie.
The communication part also I think went a little easy because if you think about it, this man is stranded on Mars with nothing that's supposed to communicate with Earth, right? And he has this rover that died 30 plus years ago. I'm not gonna pretend I remember the dates. But and it was a little sequence, and they were texting basically.
Oh right! Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
And okay, at first when they were doing the whole because they did, okay, so he was doing the, like, every single letter at first, right? And then he moved to Hex. They did put that in the movie, I'm pretty sure. Right. But, like, they didn't really stress how long it took, and that's why he changed to Hex. And then, like, how painful the Hex was. And then I'm pretty sure, shortly after, like, they went to, Hex, that's when he had to, like, get the update for the rover to, like, cut down the communication time. And, like, it was so dramatic in the book. Right, like, oh my gosh.
I feel like a lot of the book was, like, every moment you were aware that Watney could die.
Yes.
And in the movie, it kind of felt like he was vibing. Like, he's smart, he's cool, he's suave, he got this. And, like, yeah, he does, for the most part in the book. Like, he's very, very capable. Right. And that's why he lives. Spoilers. You shouldn't be listening to this part if you don't know he lives. But, I felt like the book was missing a lot of that suspense.
The movie.
I mean, the movie was missing a lot of that suspense. Yes. But I think all the character-wise, like, all the characters were really good with, like, emotion. Oh, yes. And, like, how they were reacting to things. Yeah. But I feel like the audience wasn't on edge. Like, things were going too smoothly all the time.
Not to say it wasn't a beautiful movie.
Yeah, like, it was great.
It was so pretty. But I just, like you said kind of at the beginning, now that we're kind of engineers, like, it kind of is like an irking thing to look at and be like, I can't believe they left that out in the movie. Because it does, like, knowing what should be happening and what is more realistic does add a lot more kind of, like, suspense and then frustration when it's not in the movie.
Well, talking about characters, didn't you have a problem with our boy Donald Glover, Rich Purnell?
Who?
No, you had a problem with how he was, like...
Oh my gosh, because of how they portrayed him. Oh, yes, okay.
But that's kind of how he was in the book.
Yeah, no. I just think it's so...
cliche.
So cliche. Oh my gosh.
The messy genius.
Yeah, I'm so smart, and I'm a computer person, so I am, like, awkward, and I don't know how to act, and I'm fumbling everywhere. I live in a pigsty. Not to say that's not true, but I think they really overdid it.
The diversity.
Yeah.
That was one character, and everybody else was a science nerd and very competent and very, like, charismatic. So, you know.
Right.
Rich Purnell was just a little neuroatypical.
Well, they also did that with, was it Tim? It was some guy who was dealing with the Watney communication, and he got kind of snippy at certain points.
I think, yeah.
That was in the book, too. I wish they had done that more in the movie. And also Mindy Kapoor. No, Mindy, that's a mashup. Kapoor is someone else. Mindy Park. She had more of a role in the book, and I wanted to see more of her in the movie.
No, Tim also had more of a role in the book. I feel like he was, like... Did he have a name in the movie? Like, that's what I felt like.
It was a very, like, glancing thing where,
yes.
Who was it? Was it Kapoor who was like, Tim, can we please just talk to Mark? Like, what are you doing?
I think so.
No, that was Mitch.
Oh, God, there's so many names.
and Mitch was much more aggressive in the book.
Yes.
And he was I was a little upset about that. They could have played that up for drama for the movie. But he was like, well, screw you.
You know, in the movie, I feel like they made Mitch more of a, like, dummy. And I feel like he was more aggressive in the book. And I feel like in the movie, it was more of a, like, he doesn't know what he's talking about, rolling my eyes. Like, he's just the higher up. And that was really all to his character.
Yeah, he didn't have much of a role. He was opposing him. He sent out the communication, and then he was like, haha, I did it. And then, that was it.
Another thing, I know how we're harping on minor characters, because of course, that's what everybody does when a piece of media comes out, is like, the minor character was not there. But I liked how in the book, we got several, like, very mini, like, it wasn't like, I don't even think enough of a paragraph if you put them all together, but, like, mentions about Mark's parents. And I feel like I wish we would have spoken more about Mark's parents. Like, he said, tell my mom I love her and check up on my parents. But there was, like, this whole part of the book when, like, we start seeing, like, we start listening to the trying to retrieve Mark sequence, and like we go to Times Square and we go to the NASA office and we go to like their home, and I think it was like some state where like they're clutching each other trying to hear if like they're like, I think I would have liked to see that, see more of them.
Did they even show up in the movie? Like,
no. He just talked about them in passing. Yeah. But that
he
was
only talked about them to the commander, right?
Yeah. Oh, I love Commander Lewis.
Yes, Commander Lewis.
I love how he did like, not to sound so basic, but like strong woman who is emotional, but not like in the stereotypical like, oh, I left Mark on Mars. Like she very much is in control.
Like, right.
Yeah, and she's still grieving and she's still upset and it's very much affecting her. But like at the end of the day,
she's tough.
She's still the commander.
Right.
Yeah, she's tough. She's been in the military. She can handle herself. She's commander.
Back to Mark's character, I feel like in the movie, although Matt Damon did a fantastic job, I think he was very funny and fitting for the role. I feel like there was more like oomph that we were missing, like in the movie, especially with it being rated PG-13. We couldn't have the fiery passion that was provided to us in the book. But like, I feel like you kind of like Adela said earlier, that he kind of just came off as I'll be fine, like I'm just chilling, I guess, like character. But like,
I'm a quirky kind of guy.
Yeah, right.
Who may or may not die on Mars, but I'm not worried about it.
Right, exactly. But in the book, it was very much like he was stressed the whole time. Like,
yeah, you could tell.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was almost as if Mark knew he was getting off Mars.
Yeah, exactly.
and book Mark did not.
No,
absolutely did not.
Another thing that has to do with Mark and his survival is the farm. So
potato farm.
Yeah, the whole water uptake thing was different in the book, and the explosion was not some minor explosion. Like, it was literally, it almost killed Mike. Like, okay, I think in the movie they tried to use it more as a comedic thing to kind of bring in that comedy aspect. But like, I feel like it should have been that like, oh my god, he almost died.
Right, and it set him back to square zero instead of like, just like, patch it up, teehee.
Haha, look at me, guys. I'm singed. My thing blew up because I didn't account for the oxygen I was breathing out. And another moment, and this is more towards the end of the book, another moment that bothered me that we left it out was the rover flipping when he was, and the storm.
Well,
the storm, right? The entire
storm. I was like, when you're reading, you're like, oh man, he's chilling. He's just gonna pull up and then go to Earth. And no, we have this random sandstorm, and now NASA can't talk to him. He's trying to figure out if he can triangulate the shape of the storm by leaving. It killed me that he had to like leave solar panels behind and then go back to get them.
Yes,
because you're just like taking 2 steps backward to try to take a lot of steps forward. That was like so. I feel like we didn't have all the suspense I wanted.
Exactly. Yes.
He really just took a road trip down to the station in the movie. That was my main problem when I read the book and watched the movie the first time. I was like, they left out the whole storm. How can you leave out the storm? How can you leave it out? That's like the most suspenseful part.
Yeah.
Almost.
And wasn't it like, didn't the storm happen like maybe a week before he was gonna be there? Like, he was like almost there and then the storm happened?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And did they even mention in the movie? It was not even a thing, right?
No, the storm didn't exist.
No, it wasn't even a thing.
He just got there.
Because
he just drove.
Yeah.
So, my question is, what caused him to lose communication? Because I already forgot. Because on his road trip, he did not have communication with NASA, right?
Remember the drill? He leaned the drill against.
Yeah, he leaned the drill and fried Pathfinder. In the movie, we didn't do that. So did he communicate with NASA, or was it like, oh, since I'm going on this road trip, I can't talk to NASA anymore?
I don't even know. Like, I don't think there was a point during the road trip that he needed to in the movie. So I just don't think it was ever, like, a question.
I think it was just a time skip. Like, honestly. Like, we see him laying the panels.
Yeah, because...
he drives, and that's it.
Yeah, the whole drill scene was also... pretty much skipped. Like, I swear it was a whole half a chapter in the book.
Yeah, of him talking about exactly how Pathfinder got fried.
Right. And in the movie, like, it's a montage and there's like a couple frames where he's drilling something. And so the viewer kind of is just like, okay, we're gonna go home, I guess.
Right. I feel like it was... I mean, it's a good movie, and this isn't like... it kind of sounds like the movie.
I know.
The movie messed up completely.
No.
But, like, no, I feel like it should have been more like, I don't know if you guys... Have you guys watched Gravity?
Yes.
So Gravity was literally like, you can't breathe the whole time because you're like, oh my god, this is insane. How is she getting out of this? Like, there's no way. And I feel like that's how you should have felt through the entirety. It should have been a prescribed, in a pill anxiety. It's here you go. Have anxiety for 2 hours.
Right.
Like, that's what it should have been.
Right.
With some comedy, you can be having a mental breakdown and cracking jokes with your friends. Like, it should have been that vibe.
Which you did in the book. The book was funny, but also, like, crazy.
How long are movies generally? The movie was 2 hours and 30 minutes.
I think usually around that time.
Yeah, I would say that's kind of like the max spectrum, like end of a spectrum for a movie.
So my question...
Yeah, well, I guess they didn't have much room for putting stuff in.
Well, what would you cut out? That's what I was going to ask. Because I'm thinking, like, there is a lot that they have to explain. No. I'm talking about what would you cut out of the movie as it stands to put things like the storm back in or the drill back in.
But everything connects so much.
Right.
I feel like I might have... No.
See,
man, it kind of felt short, didn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, it's like,
I don't made it 4 hours, two-parter.
Right. I was going to say, I don't think it would have I don't think I would have cared if it was 4 hours long.
They should have done that. You know how when everybody went crazy after Harry Potter did the two-parter and they said, every movie got to be a two-parter. That's what they should have done. Because then it could have ended at, like, the explosion, and we don't know if Mark died in that explosion, and then we come for part 2 next year.
Oh my gosh.
I think that could have been fun.
I would actually hate if it was 2 parts. I'd rather it be just like a 4-hour film.
Just a 4-hour film intermission.
Yeah.
Y'all go get more popcorn.
They have those, don't they?
Yeah.
Isn't that what Infinity War
nowadays?
I don't think Infinity War did an intermission.
But Infinity War was super long.
I think so.
Infinity War length.
Because I remember I went in the theater back when you could do those kinds of things.
Oh my lord.
And I remember that being so long. It felt long. It was fun. I'm not going to say Infinity War wasn't fun, but I think as long as a movie's good, it can be as long as it needs to be.
Right.
And I think The Martian could have done that.
Infinity War was 2 hours and 40 minutes, so only like 10 minutes longer. But Endgame was 3 hours and 2 minutes.
Oh, then Endgame is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Dang.
But I think that goes back to what Ariane was saying is like, it's not like something didn't need to be in the movie. You know, like I wanted more. It was good and it was so well made that I was like, oh my gosh.
And
let me watch more
long.
Of it. Yeah, no.
It didn't feel long. So I think they could have gotten away with beating Infinity War, was it? Endgame to the 3-hour thing.
Right.
But also it's kind of risky because like, I don't know much about how popular... I mean, I know the book was very popular, but I don't think movie people, Hollywood, really depends on, like, that. Because, like, for example, so, like, the MCU, you know, they could make a Vine, and it could be long ways, and people would line up to go see it and sit in the movie theater for exactly 6 seconds.
Right.
And I guess you can't really trust that with, like, a book adaptation, book to movie kind of thing.
Right. And honestly, the main reason I even heard about the book or movie was, like, a physics class in high school.
Yeah, we watched it in physics, me and Ariane.
Right.
Or were you there? I always forget.
When we watched what?
Were you there when Stuary had us watch? Shout out to Stuary from Grovetown High School.
Oh my god.
When we watched The Martian in physics class.
No, I wasn't there.
Well, 'Cause I also had the physics class experience of it.
Yeah.
So another thing that really killed me, I was like, no. Because remember, all of us have seen the movie before, right? So I'm sitting here reading the book for a second time. And I'm reading it, and Mark goes, haha, guys, wouldn't it be so funny if I did like an Iron Man thing to get to the ship? And Commander Lewis was like, no, we'll blow up the ship instead. And when I was reading that, I was like, wait, didn't he do the Iron Man thing in the movie? I was like, no way, that's stupid. They wouldn't do that in the movie. And then when we watched the movie, I was like, oh my god, they did it. I wasn't just making that up. That really bothered me because there's no way.
Yeah, no.
And they tried to make that. I feel like they tried to make that the whoa suspense crazy thing when it could have been so many other things earlier.
Yeah, and I mean the way it happened in the book was already like suspenseful because like I don't remember what Mark did, but I know I cannot remember his name. It wasn't Commander Lewis. Was it Beck?
What are you talking about?
The guy who was like tethered
to go out and get him?
go get him, yeah. And Commander Lewis, he was like, I can reach him if I if I untether myself or whatever. And she was like, no. And that was the whole thing. Yeah. But like they completely like deleted that.
Him and Johansson had a thing.
Yeah, so it was Beck.
Yeah. Because she kissed his face. That was so cute. I was like, oh my god, they're in love. And I like how they like low-key snuck it into the movie. I don't know if they did that as elegantly as they could have.
Yeah, no.
Because they said it, like, briefly. And then later she kissed him, and I was like, oh, yeah, I remember from the book.
Yeah, no. I feel like in the movie it was not a thing. Until she kissed him.
Yeah, wasn't the only thing was, like, she looked at him from out in the space place, and then they kissed in their helmets. Oh. Wasn't that it?
Yeah, no, I think earlier someone teased them about it.
Oh, I completely missed it. So.
I swear. Unless that's me trying to put the book into the movie.
Yeah, I cannot remember.
In the book, the commander did. She was like,
yeah.
You guys, you can stay with Beck or whatever.
Yeah, but like, do your job. Like, I remember that being a moment in the book. But in the movie, like, I don't even remember Commander Lewis, like, saying anything about their relationship in the movie.
Man. Yeah, but that's really what killed me. But to go back and not really harp on the ending yet, it just reminded me, my, like, favorite part of the book, like, absolute favorite, is when Mitch, right, like, sends them the Mark Parnell, girl, this is me doing mashups, fusion, Rich Parnell maneuver, like, secretly.
Yes.
Oh my god, that was so fire, bro. I was like, yes, and they, like, disregarded NASA, they're like, sorry, NASA, this is our mission now. That was so cute, and I love how it was
going rogue.
Right, and they did it really good in the movie. And I liked, you could, like, really tell that they were a crew. I think they did a good job with, like, camaraderie, and they were all vibing when they were basically texting.
Right.
Yeah, that was really cute.
I feel like I liked how in the book we went back in time. Like, in the book we start with, like, Mark and he's on Mars. And then halfway through the book we kind of go back and then see everything from, like, the crew's perspective, right? Am I remembering that right? Like, there is a bit of, like, a time difference.
I don't know if it switched to, like the present point of view. Like, are you saying I remember him flipped?
I swear, like, we did, like, a backtrack.
I remember him talking about his days studying botany, but I don't remember.
Man, maybe I'm just rewriting the book now. But
you might be right, though. I might be forgetting.
I wish we could have seen more of the crew. We saw a lot of NASA.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I mean, is a lot of the book, too, but I felt like we were missing, who was the guy with an accent?
Ogle?
Yes, I feel like there was more of him in the book. I think there was more of everybody. I feel like Martinez was very prominent, though, in the crew. But, Beck and Johansson, they should have done more with that.
Right.
Yeah.
It was just...
Like, did Beck even do anything in the movie?
No, low-key.
He was crawling out on the outside of the...
Oh my god, no, that was insane.
That's the most anxiety I had during the whole movie.
It was like, Mark's on Mars? No, look at Beck, untethered, just
Oh my
doing
gosh.
parkour around the freaking spaceship.
Oh my god.
What?
To be fair, we didn't look up the protocols for space.
Well, I'll do it right now. Because I'm pretty sure an astronaut isn't supposed to... I think they can do it, like, for a little bit.
What if he loses
Untethered?
his grip?
It seems absolutely dangerous, but
Yes.
Okay, I'm Googling it right now. Can astronauts be untethered?
While she's doing that, another thing about the end that I missed, a very, very tiny thing, was in the book. I'm pretty sure when you guys were, like, reading the book, the versions you had didn't mention this, but I found the version that was, like, Mark was on a park bench, like, enjoying pizza and a Coke or whatever, and this little boy came up to him and was like, "Aren't you that guy from space?" And he was like, "Yeah, and he was like, the little boy was like, "Do you want to go back?" And he was like, what did he say verbatim?
Well,
I don't know. I didn't read that version.
he literally said, I don't know if we can curse, so
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he said F no.
Yeah, it was F no.
And then the mother was like, okay, honey, let's go. Let's leave the man alone.
And that was,
Was that-
literally the last line, and I think that was
the very end?
hilarious. Yeah, because it was after we, like, went to him, like, teaching, and then, like doing everybody's kind of, like, wrap-up thing, and that was, like, the last thing.
Okay, maybe there's like I'm sure there's like an edited version
Mhm.
after the movie came out, maybe, or maybe before. I don't
Andy
know
was
if
like,
we have.
wait, I just thought of something hilarious. Guys, can we release another version? Okay, so I'm doing some research,
Mhm.
and the first untethered spacewalk
Ooh.
was 1984. But, like, he has this whole jetpack system on, so
Mhm.
maybe that's normal. Maybe we're just free. We didn't know.
Yeah, we
But-
didn't know Beck had a jetpack on, or
But I
anything.
feel like in the book, they made
Mhm.
such a big deal about staying tethered. So seeing
Yes.
Beck before the whole gathering Mark scene, just running around the spaceship with the hand grabs.
ready to set off a bomb
right,
in
like,
space.
It
like,
was weird.
Yeah, I know. But it was
You know, they
very...
kept- Wait, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it was very anxiety-inducing.
But you know, they kept emphasizing in the book how astronauts are insane, just by default.
Tea.
So you know,
Oh my
who
god.
knows?
And I don't like the Iron Man thing. I don't think it was cute. I don't think it was funny. I feel like we could have done without it. 'Cause
Okay.
how do you feel about
These-
it?
This is a side note to that.
Okay.
The whole switch with Commander Lewis and Beck.
Mm-hmm.
I was really upset with it the first time I watched the movie and
Why?
read the book, because I don't know why, but I thought it was like a romantic subplot they were trying to push, but it didn't seem like that. Now that I watched it a second time,
Mm-hmm.
I think they did it for like to emphasize Commander Lewis's like commanderness, like her leadership, and I don't mind. I don't mind that.
Yeah, I think it's almost like you could read it as her redeeming herself for abandoning Mark on Mars, because that's like how she saw it.
Right.
I didn't mind that,
That's a good point.
even
'cause-
though it kind of left Beck like an empty.
Right, 'cause
Yeah,
Beck literally
he hadn't done anything.
I swear to God, if we went back and watched the movie and counted Beck's lines, it would be a very sad amount of lines.
Right.
And I feel like, logic-wise, like, the commander shouldn't put themselves at risk.
Right.
Because they are the ship, basically. Like,
Right.
they can't do anything without her. Like, and we never discussed, like, if I die out there, like, you're the commander now. Like, that was never discussed. Oh, and the thing with Johansson that killed me in the book, when Johansson was talking to her parents, and her parents were like, girl, what are you doing? You're gonna die out there. And Johansson was like, no, I was selected to eat my crew members if need be. We should have hit that. Like, we should have pushed it more dark. Like, I know like, you can be comedic and dark at the same time, and I feel like it was too much pushing, like, action movie. Like everything's happening quick and cool and suave, and we've got it.
Right.
Like...
Like, the viewer, like, for the movie definitely, like, I felt like knew that everything was going to be okay. Whereas in the book, I was like, whoa, even though I knew how everything was going to end up, I was like, geez, like, there's a lot more, like, drama and, like, darkness and just a lot more in the book.
And I feel like the whole message of the book, like, at the end, not the end I read. I haven't read the special limited edition where Mark tells a kid to F off. But, in the book, there's this whole line about how it goes to show that, like, humanity is good and is willing to, like, help those that they don't know. And, like, the whole world came together for this one guy. And that really matters, and it's so impactful because you have people considering eating their crewmates if it means maybe getting Mark. You have people, like, risking their jobs by sending the Rich Parnell maneuver. Millions of dollars, like, a spacecraft that exploded that cost millions of dollars. And then China being like, we're going to heck up our own space program and all our plans to help the United States with some guy. And, like, the darkness and the, like, oh my god, Mark may not make it and all of this might be for nothing really emphasizes, like, the message of, like, this inherent good and want to help each other that humans have. And I feel like the movie doesn't have that. Like, it loses that because we never hit on that. We just, at the end, it's like, oh, and because Mark was so smart and so good at, like, surviving, he's now a professor. It wasn't, like, about... I mean, it was also like, oh, it's a relief, like, Mark's back, and now he can have this normal life and help other people. And that you never know what will happen in space. But it wasn't, like, this whole, like... humanity's good, right, to simplify things message.
I think like the movie tried to just kind of like check that box of everyone's kind of watching Mark. Was I think we saw a montage from like multiple cities where the streets are crowded watching like TV and stuff about Mark, and then there's this distinct scene I remember where it was like the director of like the Chinese NASA. I don't remember what it was called. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I think she said yes and it just cut.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
sorry.
It was him and then his like whoever girl, like advisor, assistant. Yeah, I don't know. And she was like, "Hey, we could totally 100% save this guy, but the world never has to know we could." Yeah. Like, or could have if we don't. And I feel like that moment wasn't, like, that as powerful as it could have been. More powerful, yeah. Yeah, because, like, what the next scene was, oh, China's helping us. Like, there was never really a struggle.
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, the one line that they tried to give it was, oh, we have to keep this between scientists. Because... in the book, I think we go more on how, like, if it was just scientists communicating, then there wouldn't, like, politics wouldn't get in the way of it, and we could do this. Which I think was cute. But, yeah, I think it did fall kind of flat, because it was just like, oh, he's getting a call, and he's like, wow, thanks, guys. And then we're just loading up the Taiyan Shin. Oh, but Iris blowing up. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee.
Oh, ooh. Ooh,
blowing up.
They should have just not said anything to Mark until it was in space. That was oof. And then, yeah, but I mean, that kind of emphasizes the point, like you were saying, is like, they're spending so much money at just like the mere chance of saving Mark, which is kind of cool. But I feel like that moment of the, what was it called again?
The Taiyan Shin?
No. The one that blew up.
Iris.
When Iris blew up, I feel like it was another moment that was brushed over in the movie. Because I feel like in the book, obviously, we have this Mark that's much more kind of like strung out and is like literally his life depended on like the iris going into space, and then ta-da, it blew up, and we don't know that the Tian Shen is going to even be in the equation.
Yeah, I think the fixes were a bit quick in the movie, but also time constraints. Like, we do have to give them that.
Yeah,
and it was a good, like, almost like in high school when you didn't want to read anything, you'd be like, I'm reading the Sparks Notes, and yeah, sure, if you're one of those people who only read Sparks Notes for books and still do, I'm calling you out here, because it's just not the same. I feel like your life would be more enriched. And I feel like the movie, I mean, as most adaptations are Sparks Notes versions, but, like, the fact that the vibe is different bothers me. Like, it was too easy here, and more of, like, whoa, look at this cool, crazy thing that happened. And in the book, it was like, oh my god, this guy's going to die, but the whole world is willing to do whatever to get him back.
Right.
A small problem with the book and the movie, because it portrayed it well, about this particular thing. I know they made the whole banding together thing lighter in the movie, but I was thinking about the opposite. Like, in the book and the movie, the ramifications for doing all this to save one person were kind of minimized. They really didn't talk about it. It was all like, oh, let's get together, let's band together. But they never kind of really went critically thinking or anything in depth about, like, what will this do? Like, why are we doing this? Like, what are the problems with this? Like, should we really save this guy? It was always like, yes, we should. But, like, no one, the opposite is like, no, we shouldn't. Maybe we shouldn't, you know?
I do agree. And maybe this is because of the state of the world and how things are and how things have been very rough. A lot of the questions I was asking myself while I was reading, I completely agree. It was like, if this happened, like, today in the United States for real, how hard would the United States actually try to get this guy back? Or because I feel like, we in that period of real, heck the government, I don't trust the government, Alexa's listening to me, like, all this stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like my instinct is almost to say the government would try to, like, brush it under the rug.
Oh, yeah.
And try to be like, oh my god, we had no idea, there's no way. But also, a part of me likes to believe that, yes, they would try to get him back. Because it would be the first, because Mark was, like, the first person to be stranded on Mars, and he was alive. And he did have a good bit going for him. Like, he wasn't just gonna die right away. Like, he was going to live for 300 days. And what did he need to live for? Like, 400? Like, he was only 100 days off of survival. Like, that makes it so much harder for you to be like, let him die. But if it was like Mark had no food and, like, there was no possible way. But also you have, like, the social push to do something. Because, like, in the book and in the movie, it was like, we release these pictures publicly. If the U.S. government is like, now we're just gonna let the American people watch this man die on Mars over photos, like, I don't know if that would fly.
Yeah.
Well, they really could just... They had that one photo, right? And if someone figured it out, they might not have ever figured it out. They might have never looked at it. Like, who's really looking at these NASA photos, But they could have pointed the satellite somewhere else, and they wouldn't be the wiser.
I don't know. I just like to think that our world would have saved Mark. That my Earth and my universe would have saved Mark. But I also like to look at the world with rose-tinted glasses.
No, I agree. I don't think it was a bad thing that it happened, or that I don't think it wouldn't have happened necessarily. I'm just saying the opposite. Like, if no one really talked about not saving him seriously. Yeah.
There was no, like...
It was, like, never an option.
Right. And, I mean, the most that they ever got to that was like, man, this is going to cost millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Bro, you might be in space for a little longer. Like, it was never like a... Guys, there was never that one guy who's like, what if we just don't save Mark?
Yeah.
That was the president of NASA. But for like 2 seconds.
Right.
And, like, everybody was like, you're wrong. And he was like, oh, I guess I'm wrong.
Oh my god.
I don't mind it. I was just like, oh, okay, I guess we're all on the same page, surprisingly, somehow. Interesting. That doesn't happen a lot.
I feel like it's almost the antithesis of one of the books I hate the most, Lord of the Flies. Or Lord of the Flies is like, everyone is inherently evil. You can tell because I left these baby boys on a beach and they're all eating each other or whatever. And I feel like this book is the opposite of like, look, everyone save Mark.
Yeah.
It is cute. I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, it is nice that it has a good ending.
Yes.
I feel like
we need good endings right now.
I mean, yeah. I feel like it would have been very, very painful if it had had a bad ending, because what would have happened to the crew?
It would have felt like, real, though.
I mean, yeah. It
if I had read a Martian where if we got all the way to the like flyby of Mars and we missed Mark, bro, that would have been brutal.
Yeah.
That would have been beautiful, though.
It would have.
You know how he was already, like, staring out into the space, and he was like, "Oh, it's so beautiful." He would have just fallen back down and died, and that would have been cool.
Yeah, I think a bad ending, Martian would still have the same message of like everyone did everything that they could, and it's also a different message of like you can do everything in your power and it still not work. I think Beyonce said that once. You know, Beyonce never is incorrect.
That's correct. I do think that's correct.
Why not?
Oh, speaking of endings. Wait, sorry, Jayla, I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
Your ending. That was the original ending, apparently.
Really?
And he changed it.
Girl,
whoa, Andy!
What? What's the T? Do you know the T?
It just says that was the ending. I don't know why it changed. I don't know. It said the original ebook. It had another ending, and that was the one that was published.
I want to go read that. I feel like that would be really sad.
Yeah, it would be so sad.
Maybe that's interesting.
Yeah, maybe a good ending. I mean, good endings typically sit better with the like general public.
I feel like my philosophy is always like it's better to just look on the bright side. So whenever I like to create it right, I'm always like, and then everyone was happy and no one died and no one's feelings ever got hurt, which isn't great for character development or any sort of plot, anything. But like I would have done what Mark, and by Mark I mean Andy Weir did, which was make it happy.
Yeah. Another thing I like when I was looking up kind of like other like online opinions of the book, I found like I think it was an NPR interview with Andy, and he mentioned that in real life, I'm about to blow everyone's minds for a second. In real life, a storm on Mars would literally feel like a breeze to us on Earth. So it would have never even like gotten remotely as bad as it. Yeah, it would not have even been an issue, and I think that's really funny. And he was just like, "LOL, nobody's probably going to question it." I think that's funny.
We're on Mars. Anything can happen on Mars.
Right. But I think that's really funny because there was almost not a story, but he said, I'm going to just not recognize that real fact.
Well, who knows? Maybe 100 years in the future, Mars will be like Jupiter, crazy storms.
Yeah.
No, I don't think the atmosphere is enough.
Hopefully not.
You know what? That's kind of funny how you say that, because now that I think about it, in the book many times we were like, the Martian atmosphere is so thin, nothing can happen here after the storm.
Right.
Oh my god. That's really good. But, you know, science fiction is all about alternate universes. That's just a Mars that has storms.
Exactly.
That's all
I
it is.
love that.
Man.
I love that for Mars.
So, the final question to kind of close out. What was the wrong word to start that question with?
All right.
Excuse me. If you had been Mark Watney, do you think you would have survived? Now, I'm going to say depends completely on your math skills and your engineering skills. And I'm still giving you that NASA can talk to you. I'm still giving you everything. Do you think you would have survived, Arion?
I have to go. I think if I had the proper, education or whatever.
No, I'm
whatever,
you as you are right now. Or we can pretend you after you get your doctorate. Because you're going to be a whole surgeon.
I think with the MD, I think I would not have survived. Okay. I don't have the engineering skills that probably you guys are getting. MDs just don't do that stuff.
I think
we know a lot about life, but that's it. That's it.
But I think the like paramount thing that Mark Watney had was he was a botanist.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know nothing about chemistry. I'm a computer science person. Oh, I could update whatever rover was updated. I could do that. But like I could not probably figure out.
Think about this.
Mm-hmm.
We are probably all smaller and thinner than Mr. Mark. We probably could have stretched the rations further.
I mean, yes. But like
He was struggling.
But would the rations have lasted like as long as he needed for the Ares crew to get there?
I think
Just the rations? I don't...
because the issue with Mark is he needed hella calories. Mark needed like, was it 2,000 a day?
He did need a lot. I did know
Right,
that.
I know that I can survive unless
Like half that?
right, just from a biology standpoint. So we could
That
have
is
maybe
true.
outlived him and not needed the skills.
Maybe. But I think part of it is like the survivalist thing is like I need to figure out a way to produce food.
Mm-hmm.
And like wasn't part of the mission trying to grow stuff on Mars anyway? So
Yeah.
you would have had the materials to do so would you have naturally tried to do so? I feel like yes, maybe, and I feel like I would have just blown up everything and then been dead. Who knows?
Oof.
What about you?
Maybe
Okay.
if Iris worked out, I could probably...
Oh, that's big T. I would have been like, y'all take all the time you need on Iris, please.
Bro, I won't eat for a week. Just get Iris to work. I'll just drink water.
Right.
So I obviously am more engineering than y'all because I'm the biomedical engineer. The chemistry and math is what's killing me because
Right.
I'm bad at
I
math.
have the chemistry and math. I
I'm bad at math. Like the math alone probably would have killed me because of how it almost killed Mark. And Mark actually knows how to do math.
Right.
So say I was good at math. I think maybe I could have done it. But the thing is the botany thing. Like, would I have thought... Because it was a lot to get the potatoes to survive. I don't know the first thing about plants, I'm going to tell you. But with the whole bioengineering degree, I think there is a slight chance. But I'm also banking on the whole, I can stretch the rations further than Watney can.
Right. I think, yeah, the chemistry is like a huge thing because, like Arion, math, I got it. Chemistry, if I had like a beginner's guidebook to chemistry, maybe, because I don't remember any of the concepts. But like, other than that, I'm just kind of sitting there waiting for Iris.
Well, another thing we didn't consider is all the heavy lifting Mark had to do.
Oh,
I'm weak.
Yeah,
I am a weak person. I have no muscle. And he was out here lifting Pathfinder.
I mean, you gotta be fit to be an astronaut.
Okay, so we're pretending we're fit too.
I mean, if we're on Mars at that point, we were probably fit.
Oh my god.
They're not gonna send us up and we'd be weak.
Right.
But that's interesting because I think we're all missing a component.
Right.
But if we were all stranded on Mars together, we could do it.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
That's the moral of the story. Teamwork.
But the rations, though, who's eating who?
Oh my god. Okay, wait. Who's eating who?
Well, they did it on Ares, the youngest. So aren't you the youngest, Adela is?
Oh my god. I survived. But... Ooh.
Could you survive by yourself?
I don't...
At the last bit.
Eating y'all. Duh. Ew.
Yeah.
A little ill.
I don't know. I wonder... That's so morbid. Man.
Who would you eat first?
Who would I eat first?
Ooh.
Honestly, to make myself not feel bad, I would probably alternate. Like, first day, Jayla's arm. Next day, Arion's arm. Like, just go... just flip-flop them every day. That's how I would do it.
Aww.
That might cause you more emotional distress.
You could just cube us up at the very beginning.
Oh, and
mix
just
them
start
up.
making stew.
Yeah, you don't know even know who's
my-
who.
It's venison. I watched a Vsauce video that said that one person chronicled their eating human meat for the first time and they said it tasted like venison.
Ah.
So,
That's
I've never had
interesting.
venison. I can't wait to have y'all as venison in this Mars scenario.
No, that might cause a problem with unfolded proteins.
You better
Or
stop.
misfolded proteins.
This is
No.
not protein time. I don't even know what you're talking about. I'm not there yet in my systems class.
Cannibalism can mess you up.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for listening. Next week, we are planning to watch Arrival. I'm very excited. This is one I've seen before. Ariane, I think you've seen it?
Arrival. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Jill, have you seen
I've
it?
seen it.
Ooh.
Oh, I loved it.
We will be watching Arrival, and I hope you join us. This is Adelis signing off.
This is Jayla signing off.
This is Ariane signing off.